It's finally time to do something about the paint on this car. And this is the product I've chosen. This is called Poppy's Patina. It is a wipe-on clear coat. And you can get this as either a gloss or a matte finish. And you can make it a semi-gloss if you want to mix the matte and the gloss together. This product, it's been out for a couple years. Dylan McCool's used it in his videos. And I am 90% certain when it first came out that the Vice Grip Garage Clear Coat is the identical product. It's just labeled differently. It is not the same as his Shine Juice. That's an oil-based product. But this clear coat is the same one that he sells on his website. At one point, I think you could determine that, but I think they've since removed the relationship. That doesn't make it clear anymore what it is, but I think it's the same product. So anyway, buy it from whoever you like. I just bought this because they didn't have the package that I wanted to do this on this car. Okay, this is what comes in the box when you order the kit. You get the wax and grease remover, wipe-on clear, and the catalyst to harden it. As well as I chose to get the box or bag of rags. This is the applicator for the clear coat, and then you get 3 of these Scotch-Brite pads. I've already used 2 to do the car. So what I did to prep this thing was I took the Scotch-Brite and some Dawn dishwashing liquid and gave this thing a nice scrub bath. And the real reason to do that, I think, is to scuff the paint up to give the clear coat something to adhere to, but it also cleans all the dirt and grime off the car, and it definitely made a difference. This thing's a lot more blue now than it used to be. Took a lot of the trim, well, not a lot of the trim, I took some of the trim off, let's be honest. Took the headlight doors off, the lettering, the piece on the trunk lid, and the side emblems, because they were going to be difficult to clear coat around, or these are parts that are easily removed. Also the antenna base and the wiper arms and that kind of thing. Going to tape off the rest of the trim because it's too difficult or time consuming to remove, including these quarter panel moldings, which you got to take the trim panels off the inside to even get the bolts to hold those on, so we're not going to do that. And these wheel opening moldings, the screws are pretty ugly and probably would need to be drilled out, so just not going to bother with any of that. So it's scuffed, and we're going to mask it next, and then we will go over the car with the cleaner and degreaser and get it ready for the clear coat application. Okay, we got it masked up here. All the trim is covered where it matters. Now, I'll admit, I'm the kind of person that cannot stand masking lines on cars that have been painted. But in this case, I'm okay with it because it's just clear. And this is not what I would call a permanent type of repair or refinish. The paint on this car, first of all, it's metallic base coat only, and trying to bring this back is pretty much impossible. Even in the best of circumstances, there just isn't a way to do it with the metallic finish. You wind up with blotches. The second thing is the paint on this car. It's been repainted once, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's pretty much cracking, and it needs to be stripped back before any kind of repaint happens. So putting a coat of clear on top of this isn't really going to do any damage or create a whole lot of more work for us. It's just a matter of trying to preserve what's here for the time being. You know, there again, I may be doing this just for the next guy, or maybe 10 years from now I'll want to repaint the car and it'll be what it'll be, but it'll still have to be stripped back pretty much to bare metal and start over. So not really doing anything negative here, and like I said, the clear isn't going to show the tape lines that much. I just don't want to make more work for myself in the future by getting a bunch of clear in the moldings that I have to clean off. So this is good. Still have to give it a wipe down with the prep solution, get all the grease and dirt off of it, and then we'll be ready to wipe it on. Well, it's the morning after application, and I wanted to go over what we've got here and give some notes about applying this product. And hopefully you can see here in the lighting that we've got a shine on this car. It actually looks pretty good, with some exceptions, which I'm going to get into here shortly. But this wound up being, I was worried that this was going to be a super high gloss, and it is glossy, but it's still got a little bit of a matte look to it. It's not too much. So one of my concerns was that it was going to be way too shiny. But it came out pretty good. Unfortunately, I am going to have to scuff some of the surfaces and do it again today because I put it on a little too thin and there's some spots, particularly on the roof where it's streaky and doesn't look very good. You can kind of see here. It's a little dry looking. So I'm going to go over these again. So I started on the roof, and that's the worst. Right here you can see really it's not shining very well. And the trunk lid's also pretty bad. Because I started with the top surfaces, as you should, and work your way down so that you're not leaning over what you just painted. But I wasn't putting enough product on, and that's why it got the way that it did. So that's a technique that you got to kind of learn as you go, without putting too much on that you get a bunch of runs and sags. Like a little bit of one there, but overall, it's not going to matter too much in something like this because it's not intended to be perfect. One of the other problems of doing this indoors with all this crap around, and I probably should have cleaned the garage out to do this, another fail on my part, is you're applying clear, not a paint color. So it's kind of difficult to see where you've been, especially on the sides. And you'll see all my little tape marks here of spots that I kind of missed. So I'm going to go dab some more on here today. Just touch those in. That should be very easy to do. But yeah, it's kind of hard unless you've got some really good lighting, and all of my light comes from the ceiling, so shining on the sides isn't something that it does very well. The sides were actually, I found, easier to do, and this whole process went really quickly. The prep work, like every other paint job, is going to take more time than the actual application, but it's not difficult at all, or very time consuming to do. I'm quite impressed and pleased with this, to be honest. So again, it's in the garage right now. The application, they want you to do this under 77 degrees, above I think 65 or 6, and not in direct sunlight. So you can't do this outside in the sunlight. You wouldn't want to, because you're going to get stuff blowing into it and getting in the finish. But rolling this outside yesterday, come on camera, was a great view of it, and it really looks good. So I'm going to finish fixing the faux pas, and then I'll show you the car outside in the sunlight so you can see exactly how nice it does look. And she's done. So let's talk about it. One thing I would say is, if you're doing this in the garage, you're going to see the flaws much more clearly than if it's parked outside in the direct sunlight. That is what you should use to judge whether your job is good or not. I wound up redoing the top surfaces of the car because I didn't like how it looked inside. It looked very streaky on the hood and the roof and the trunk, and did them over again, and honestly I don't think they're any better this time around. And parked outside, it actually looks better. The only exception might be the trunk lid. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there are some streaks in the trunk lid. So there's that. But what do we think about this product? I think this is a great solution. Now granted, it's designed to be put on over a less than premier surface. You know, this is to This is for the patina look for your cars that have rust and primer spots and all that kind of stuff. Not really probably intended for a car that has most of its paint still, but it actually worked out very well. I got a nice shine on this car. It's very uniform. I really have no complaints. I also wound up doing the rear bumper, which was just spray painted with a silver paint, and it helped that quite a bit. I think it looks a lot better too. So it is an acquired skill. You probably should practice first on something else if you have the availability to do that. But for less than 200 bucks, I believe, I think this is a great solution to a paint problem. Of course, it's, you know, not a permanent solution, but I think the car looks a million times better than it did before. Now, I also say I think some of the problems I had were because of the temperature. This product is supposed to be used between 66 degrees, I think, and 77 degrees is the optimum range. And it was right on the upper portion of that scale while I did it. And what I was finding was, at least on the top surfaces, why I was getting these streaks is because this thing, this product dries so quickly. They say it dries to the touch in about 2 or 3 hours. Well, I would say it's more like 30 minutes. Now, am I using too much hardener? I don't think so. I'm using the ratio that they recommend, but it dries really quickly. I don't really know what else I could have done differently other than do this on a cooler day. But overall, very pleased with it. Can't complain at all. I think this will be a good finish for this car going forward for the next few years. It's not really an embarrassment to drive anymore. And yeah, there's a few flaws here and there with some streaks and so forth, but I don't care. As far as the spots that I missed, I just went around and touched those up with a little bit of the clear on a rag. Just dabbed it on, and it melted in just like you'd want it to. So no complaints at all. Very happy with the outcome. So Pappy's Patina, I recommend it highly. I think it's a good product. You can also get it as the same thing, I believe, from Vice Grip Garage. This is a better product to me than the Shine Juice, which is not permanent and also is very oily. It's going to attract dirt. Is there some dirt in the paint? Sure there is. But again, I don't really care. Anybody's looking at it that closely is obviously not going to be too impressed with it. We were trying to describe what we did to this car to some friends, and my wife said it's basically like putting clear nail polish on the finish, and that's exactly what this is. So very easy to apply. Again, the prep work took longer than the actual application, and I'm sure you could do this in one shot if you had better lighting and better conditions than I did. So it's finally done, and we'll just wait for the fall to come around to do the drivetrain work, do the V8 swap. But I hope you got something out of this video. If you have any questions for me, please put them below. And as always, I thank you for watching.